friends, welcome to today's demo and welcome friends today. Okay, so I am actually super excited for today's demo. In fact, I actually was telling Linda earlier I was being extra secretive about my demo because I was so excited I wanted to wait to do the big reveal until you guys were here. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making watercolor, like a dye from plants. And so I went outside and last night literally in the dark and I was like, what plants can I find with color on them? And I had done a tiny bit of research and I was hoping, because I love the color yellow, and I was really hoping to find a really vibrant yellow like from yarrow, but I could not find yarrow anywhere. I know, it's so funny. And I was like, it's okay, I'm sure I have stuff laying around, it'll be fine. And so what I have a ton of growing is calendula. And calendula,
from your garden?
These two are not. Those ones are from the store, and we're gonna get to this in just a minute. But I have really vibrant calendula, and calendula actually has a couple different colors. And so I collected a bunch of yellow, and I collected a bunch of orange, and then I was like, I need more colors. And so I went to Hagen last night, and they had these daisies. I don't know if you guys know how these are made, but I actually thought that they were like dyed like a watercolor, where you're like dipping it into like a pigment. But how it's done is the daisy is traditionally just white, and then they put the dye in the water of the vase as it's growing, or as it's growing. So like yeah, like as it's growing, and you end up, and as it blooms, it pulls the color up into it. I'm pretty sure that's how it's done, and that's what I was told. But again, I have never done that, so I don't know. But that's why you get the color is so even all the way through, because it actually grows like that, the color. So they're pulling the color.
Did you do a thing in school where you take celery and then you put dye in a little glass?
No.
And then when we were like in kindergarten or something.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
The color would go up into the celery.
Oh really?
So kind of to demonstrate.
Oh yeah. Now I wonder if they do it when it's cut or versus when it's growing. Okay, well, anyways, I don't know 100%. All I know is I loved the colors, and I was like, well, these are the colors I also want to play with. And so the thing that I thought was just absolutely the weirdest part about this is that the colors we end up with are nowhere near the colors that we work with. And so some of the other things I wanted to use, Linda heard me earlier, I literally am using spinach like from like the grocery store. Yeah. And then I also used coffee. Now these are just the bean version, but I literally had some coffee left over this morning, or actually last night, because I was doing this last night. And so what to do to get the coffee, to get that concentrated color, you just old coffee, you pour it like into a little cup, and then you put it in the microwave or over the stove, and then it heats it up and it gets even more concentrated in color. We have to heat it up again. And then I have more yellow here, and we're gonna be making some colors today. Blackberries, amazingly, I still have some of these laying around, and even if you have some dried blackberries that have like been on the bush like a little too long, that actually might be a really wonderful way to go. Really? And then amazingly, one of the most vibrant colors is the red from the unripe blackberries. And I thought that was really fascinating, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to play with this. So I just had so much fun coming up with colors and then just seeing the reveal of what happened. But yeah, you wouldn't really, expect there to be a whole lot of juice in there, but the colors of the blackberries are so vibrant. So the different ones we're going to be playing with today, and I made little labels, and we'll lay all these all out later, is we have coffee, this is yellow calendula, spinach, orange calendula, red daisy / unripe blackberries, actual blackberries, and then a pink daisy. So those are all the different things that we are going to be making our colors with today. So now that you have that bit of information, now we're going to get started. And it's, like I said, it's actually really fun. Also, I don't know if you can hear this, but we also have the electrical, hello friends! But we also have electric teapot going, because we're going to be making our dyes, our watercolors, by heating up the color of the pigmented plants. Oh, hello friends, welcome. We were just talking about the different colors that we're going to be making today. We're using spinach, weirdly enough, coffee, I just used leftover coffee, and I just heated it up. Yellow calendula, orange calendula, which are from my garden, and then I picked up a pink daisy and a red daisy from the grocery store, and then I'm also using unripe blackberries and actual blackberries to make different colors. So we're going to just make a couple colors today, but then I will show you all the colors that I made, and then we'll get to play with them. And what I was most surprised about was the colors we end up with are nowhere near the colors that you're seeing here, which I just thought was actually really cool. And the effect is just totally weird. Okay, so we're just going to pop all this stuff in here, and we're going to just go pick out a color. Do you guys have a color that you want me to do? Of all the ones here, what do you think is going to be, which one are you most intrigued to see?
Oh, I want to see the blackberry color.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And the unripe.
And the unripe, this one? Okay, we'll do the red and we'll do the black.
One or
That
the
sounds
other.
perfect. I am very excited. Okay, so I'm definitely going to do the blackberries. So we will do the blackberries, and we will do the red. And
I
the
hope we
unripe.
get to these too.
Yeah. Oh, we will see.
Okay.
I may not have enough time, but at least you'll see the process of how it's done, and then that way, when I reveal the colors at the end, you'll see the idea of how we got there. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm just gonna kind of tuck these things to the side here. All right, all my little labels, because we're going to do little swatches with this. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do, and I'm going to start with the lighter of the colors. So if you're doing the rainbow, you're obviously going to want to start with the lightest color, the color that has the least amount of pigment on it, because otherwise you're going to end up getting black or the purpley color into your yellow. So I would start with yellow and then into the orange and then into your reds and your purples and then into your purples. Okay, so I'm going to grab this little knife here, and I'm going to de-stem this guy because that is a stabby stem and I've been stabbed several times last night and today from doing this. So I'm just going to grab some little petals here, and I'm actually I pulled off about half of the petals last night, so I'm going to pull off probably another grouping of them here. And we want quite a bit, and I'm not going to be filling this jar up by any means. I'm probably just going to do a small little bit because watercolors go a really long way, and we could always make more if needed.
So,
all right.
I'm confused. Are you making actually like juice out of it, or are you mashing it up?
Yeah, so what I wanted, so the idea is that I actually want to be able to paint with colors created from
okay.
nature. So I'm making my own watercolors.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to be able to make like a hard watercolor palette where we're adding water to it,
Yeah.
but I am going to be able to use my paintbrushes to pick up colors and create light and dark shadows, and using the natural colors to just kind of see what happens when we like concentrate. So yeah, basically we are kind of making a juice, I guess, but obviously I wouldn't want to drink it unless it was the blackberry one. So because that would probably be amazing with like a little bit of lemon and some sugar. So we're gonna have to chop these up so that you get them to be really, really fine. And the idea is that we're kind of wanting to break these up in hopes that some of the pigment will kind of start to come out and kind of start to release here. Oh, and I've got some green in there. I don't want the green. I just want the red. Move that to the side there. All right. Oh, my little guy. And then we're going to grab my unripe blackberries here. And again, I'm just going to kind of chop them up. And they're going to kind of start to have kind of release some of their juices as well. And since when I was doing this last night, I actually grabbed a little bit more than what I have here today. So I'm going to grab one more of these guys. All right. So then you're going to take all your little ingredients and you're going to put them in their little cup. Then we're going to grab our pot of water. So it just got done boiling. I heard it go off. Taylor, would you mind grabbing me the hot water, please? Yeah. All right, so you have all your colors in there. And while waiting for that, I'm going to grab some blackberries, and we're going to do this guy too. Perfect, thank you. All right, and we're going to have to wait. I only have one extra jar for this, so we're going to do this one, and then we're going to come back and do the blackberries. All right, so then you pour on your boiling hot water, and you really do not need very much. I would say, I might even go a little bit more than that, but probably about this much. And I would say it's probably maybe about an inch, inch and a half, that's the amount that we want there. And what's going to happen is as it just kind of starts to kind of get the pigment out of there, you're going to kind of start to see the color of the water change tint, start to change color a little bit. Okay, and then the other thing that because I have done a lot of fabric dyeing in my life, I was like, how do you get the colors more vibrant? Because I want them to be more vibrant. So you can either add white vinegar or you can add salt. And so we are going to add salt today. And so just because the smell of vinegar, in my opinion, is just a little strong for the smell of the space. And I know I have salt somewhere.
Remember you dyed me a costume with coffee beans one time?
Did I do that?
What was your costume?
I was in a school play when I was the French poodle.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, you used coffee to dye it.
Okay, well,
How much salt do you need?
Huh?
How much
Oh,
salt
I don't
do you
need very much. Do you happen to have some with you? Oh my gosh, what? This is amazing. This is actually the exact amount I need. No, that's perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm like over there looking. I'm like, I can't find the salt. Because I generally bring pepper to work or a little bit of sugar for coffee. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of stir that around. All right, so you can already start to see the colors happening there, which is really, really cool. So now that you kind of get that idea of how that was done, I will show you what happens after it sits for a little while. get this
Oh,
color.
so pretty.
Isn't that stunning? Oh my gosh. And so in order to get this, where it's just the water like this, what you have to do is you can end up, I recommend a secondary jar, and we're going to take, I'm actually going to use a cup here to do this. And this is going to be a little hot because my water was just boiling, but you need to use a coffee filter to pull all of the excess color out. So I'm going to grab a coffee cup to do this. And hopefully not burn my fingers here. That's my plan.
How long do you want to let it steep?
Last night I let mine steep for probably a good maybe 15 minutes. I actually let them they were just out on the counter. I just let them cool down. And so they were hot and then I cooled actually they cooled down, or they were kind of getting warm, and then I was like, I need to add something. And so it was like sugar, or not sugar, I was like salt. So then I went and found the salt, and then I was like putting them in, and then when I was mixing it, then I was like, oh, this is interesting, what's happening here? And I was like, they're starting to cool down. I was like, I wonder if the pigment will still hold. And so then I ended up putting it through the coffee filter, and then it was actually Taylor. It was so funny, last night I was like, okay, this is what I've done. And I was like, now what? Now, how do I get the pieces out? And he was like, all you need is a second jar. And I was like, oh, thank you. And he's like, then you squeeze it out and then you pour it back in so you get the color. And I was like, yes, that is the information that I needed. So sometimes just bouncing ideas off of another person is very helpful. So I'm just gonna pour this into a cup here. Whoops.
Oopsie.
My jar I was using last night. Oh, I don't want you to get burned here because it's very, very hot. There we go. Perfect. We'll do this.
Could like hold it with a rubber band there. If you
Yeah,
needed to.
I actually do have some rubber bands. Oh, I did have one laying around.
I've had some teas that come out really pink and stuff.
Yeah.
That probably make really lovely
With roses.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That was actually what I was wondering
And
about
hibiscus.
using roses. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
Yeah, actually, no, that. I can't remember what was that one tea.
little zinger.
Would you
Yeah,
like to take
red
a photo of
zinger.
Red
this?
zinger.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it had.
So this is, and then that's the color we end up with when we're done with that. Sorry, friends up there on the camera. Okay, so then we're gonna take this, and again, I would recommend maybe letting it kind of cool a little bit because you don't burn your fingers. And then you're just gonna kind of squeeze that out like so. So it's pulling out any extra pigment. Now, when you get to the part with the blackberries, when you go to do this, I recommend 2 coffee filters because the blackberries start to push through the coffee filter itself. And then it just gets really, really messy, but then you end up with bits of nature stuck in there, which is hilarious. Okay, and so just because for the purposes of wanting to be consistent, I'm not gonna add this to this, but that is the color that you would get if you let it steep for quite a bit longer. Okay, Jay, can you please do me a favor and pour this out and empty this? I need an empty one. This is fine the way it is, but I need that to be empty so I can do blackberries next. Thank you so much for all your help. Okay, all right, so now we're gonna do blackberries. Okay, so I'm gonna pull off these little stems. I don't need those little guys. I'm gonna do these little guys. But the color is just absolutely incredible.
I would think you'd have strong color from the black.
Yes, yes. Actually, the other one I really wanted to do was blueberries, but I couldn't just. I was at Hagen last night when I decided to do this. So just so you know, this idea is very, very young, less than 24 hours old here. Thank you so much. But when I was at the grocery store last night, it was like, ooh, do I really want to spend like $7 on blackberries or blueberries? And I was like, no. I was like, I don't think I want to do that. But what you could do is use frozen blueberries or frozen strawberries, put them in the microwave for about a minute, and so they get the really nice juicy colors, and then you could use some of those to also make color, and that would certainly work.
They come out colorful in my blender.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But yeah, and so mostly I just want to kind of give you guys some ideas so that you can kind of start playing around with, like, even if I don't have watercolor at home and I want to paint something, or you're on a trip or on a vacation, you probably have things around you that you could create art with and create watercolors with. Okay, so we're gonna put that in there, and sorry, my hands are all. Well, you can tell the
just
color
like when
now.
you pick blackberries.
Exactly. All right, and then we're gonna add in.
Your new use for freezer burn berries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yes, exactly. And so right away you can see you get this much
it goes
deeper
fast.
kind of a purpley kind of a color. But it does. It starts to work really quickly. And then the more of the blackberries you add in, the more vibrant your color is going to be. And I do not really recommend like just squeezing them and putting them directly in here because you really do want them to kind of release as much of the juice, the pigment as possible. I can probably rinse my fingers off in here though. So then that way you want to get that kind of chopped up. So then that way you're not just like putting berries in water and then you're like, come on, make your pigment. You want it to be like partially like already on its way there. All right. Okay. So, but yeah, so that's how you get your really fun, vibrant colors. Okay, so now that we've done the officially making of the things, now you can see the reveal of what they all look like because this is my favorite part. I'm so excited. Okay, so, but yeah, you can see even from the red and the blackberry, you can still see a difference in color. This one's a little bit darker. Again, when we go to paint with them, I think you guys are gonna be pleasantly surprised. All right, I'm gonna tuck this one to the side. This is the blackberry one that I made last night. You can see the color is so
It's really
rich.
Looks
Oh
like
my
grape
gosh,
juice.
it really does. It's absolutely fascinating. And yeah, you can smell them. They all have a scent to them, so it actually does smell like blackberries. But again, oh, just the colors. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled. Okay, all right. So here we have the rest of these. So this is spinach. This is going to be orange calendula, which this is also a great opportunity to say like, oh, there's not a lot of pigment in these things, or there is a lot of pigment in this other thing. This is going to be the yellow calendula. So you have, you can kind of see them, they're next to each other, orange, yellow, and green. And then, are you ready for this? This one is the pink. What?
I thought
This
it
was
coffee.
the weirdest one. It was the weirdest one. I just thought that, I don't know if you can probably, I don't know if you can even see that through
It's
here,
so
but we can hold it
dark.
against the white. But yeah, it is so weird. It almost has like this kind of olive color to it. And I think it's because one, I used other shades of red to make with the red daisy, but there was red coming off of that anyway. But the pink, when I added it to the water, it got, like washed out almost. It was so weird. And then this is the coffee, and the coffee is that deep dark brown, which is really, really fun. Okay, so now the make and take part of today. So I have, oh, thank you. Jag, you are amazing. Look at you, you wonderful human. So these were the samples of things that I paint. Actually, I'm not going to show you these quite yet because I want you to see what happens. All right, I'm going to need to grab, can you please have this? I just need a little single guy from that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use water brushes. And I am the kind of person where I like to organize things in rainbow order because that is just who I am, and it just looks so beautiful. And so what we're going to do here, I'm going to go this back way so you guys can actually see what I'm doing.
Nice flowers.
Yeah, I actually also drew my little mushrooms and little flowers last night, and I was like, quickly, I have to quickly do a little sketch so that I have something to watercolor the next day. So, anyways, it's just a really cool thing that happens. I'm going to use my water brush. I'm probably using it in the unofficial way, but I don't really care. So you can just kind of pick up the color, and then what I'm doing is I'm just kind of dabbing it on, and you can see that there is a little bit of color there, but there's really not very much. And so, but it's really kind of fun to kind of play with that. The red I thought was really fascinating. Again, it's very, very faint. But the one that I was most fascinated with was the blackberry, because watch what happens. It's just the weirdest thing. So it goes on pretty vibrant, pretty incredible, but as it dries, the colors actually change, because you know what happens when in the fall all the plants die, right? Because they're being exposed to nature and erosion, and so the colors you end up getting actually end up being more fall toned, because when they dry, do you see what's happening? It's almost turning into this blue color. It is so bizarre. So anyways, I just had a lot of fun kind of playing and experimenting with that. But when you're laying down your colors, what you'll notice is that you are still able to create light and dark by using the shades of color that you have here, which means that we could go in here and add kind of a shadow line along the bottom here, because all of this is going to turn out blue. And we can go in here and the coffee was one of my other most favorite ones. The color is so nice. It's just really, really wonderful.
Tea, wouldn't that also?
Oh yeah, different colors of
that's a good
different
idea.
flavors of tea. Absolutely,
Like
yes.
Tea dyed for fabrics.
Yeah, right. And I really wish I had like some indigo or something to get some like really vibrant colors, but it's okay. So anyways, I'm just kind of laying down some different colors here, but mostly what I want to just encourage you guys today to do is to just kind of play and just kind of see what happens, because the experience is just awesome. All right, so now that you've seen that, I will show you the dry ones. Wait, where did I put the, oh, right, perfect. All right, so this is what happens when they dry. So this was another painting. I decided not to print that one off, but you can see the colors are fall colors, because that's what happens with nature, right? So after everything dies and you're being exposed to the light and everything dries out, you end up with the fall tones. So isn't that just absolutely fascinating how this rainbow assortment creates that?
We call them earth tones.
Yeah, the earth tones. Yeah, isn't it just so cool? But I really encourage you guys to play around with that kind of concept, and just seeing like, what do you have laying around, or tea that you have laying around that you can play with. And then I'm the kind of person person, I like to do like a splatter background
Yeah,
because I just think that
noticed
I just
That's
like
cool.
to do that, and because you get
Yeah.
the different colors. But I think the blackberry one is my most favorite one to play with because of the fact that it is a completely different night and day situation. So if you guys want to make one today, obviously we're happy to help you do like a little layering, so you can do like a fun color palette. You can pick whatever color palette you love the most, and then we're happy to help you with that. All right. So if anyone wants to make one today or this week, it's just $5 for the craft. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care, friends. Bye bye.
Floor underneath the